Oh, yeah. I love it. It is Thirsty Thursday, y'all. And we have a Thursday night game we'll be live streaming here tonight starting at 8 o'clock. Denver versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that's more like the Christians going against the Lions right there. I don't think Denver has much of a chance. Some people believe Russell Wilson is not far from being benched to be basically the sacrificial lamb for Sean Payton, because Sean Payton has to make some kind of a move to try and shake the team up. He's been trying everything and nothing seems to work. Of course, Kansas City will get back on track to their way towards the Super Bowl and being one of the best teams in football. So our Dallas Cowboys, we don't play until Monday night. And I have to say that this may be desperation bowl for the two coaches. Brandon Staley, a lot of people think should have been gone last year. Definitely is on the hot seat. He got Kellen Moore, the boy wonder and things. And a Monday night loss to the Cowboys could be the nail in the coffin for him. For me, I still believe that if the Cowboys don't show up, we've been a Jekyll and Hyde team. We still have a 52-point advantage in scoring, even after that debacle against the San Francisco 49ers. We have been very, very good at times, and we have been literally ass at others. And the Cowboys really need to get on track. They get a victory. They go to 4-2 going into the bye week. They can lick their wounds and start to get things back on track. They lose going into the bye week. That's an opportunity for Jerry Jones to say, enough of this. We're moving on from Mike McCarthy. I may be crazy, but now I've been saying this all week. Now you're beginning to hear some of the other pundits out there kind of say the same thing, that if the Cowboys don't win, that Mike McCarthy could be fired. Now, I'm not one to go ahead and try and make changes in the middle of the season here on coaches, because basically the die is already cast. There's not a lot of things that you can do at this point to change what you have. Now, we can look back and say that one thing we did do several years ago that ended up paying dividends for us was we ended up trading for Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper came in, and because our receiving corps just was not it just was not doing it. We had a bunch of guys, so to speak. Amari Cooper was able to help take the top off the defense, to stretch the field, to make it easier. We went from being a 3-5 team to making the playoffs. So you wonder, as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline, will the Cowboys think about doing something like this? Now, I don't know that there's a wide receiver that you're going to be able to do this, but one area that we could definitely look at and say we're lacking at the moment. A lot of people will point and say we shouldn't have let Dalton Schultz go. Dalton Schultz was okay, but I'm not sure that he was the guy. But you have to look at tight end as a position where it helps the quarterback. It's the relief valve. It is the guy that you can go to when all else breaks down. And you've seen the advent of tight ends, where most of your Super Bowl teams have a great tight end. And the Dallas Cowboys, I believe in Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson is having a good season. But the problem is Schoonmaker right now and Peyton Hendershot, those two guys have not been getting you much. We got 2 catches between the 2 guys. And so maybe a veteran presence would help the Dallas Cowboys right there in that position. And maybe you can get a Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz wouldn't be a bad addition to the fold there. If you could get Zach Ertz, he could be a possession guy. He's going to help, of course, lead these young guys and teach them how to play, and maybe become a security blanket for the Cowboys and Dak Prescott, which he definitely needs as these plays are breaking down. There's other spots that we definitely need to make some move. We got Rashad Evans signed, or will be signed, pending the physical, to help the linebacking core, but we could still use some more help at linebacker because Leighton Vander Esch 4 to 6 weeks, you don't know if this is going to be a lingering injury where when he does come back, he's still not 100% to where you need him to be. We've been working Micah Parsons at middle linebacker, playing more Sam Williams at defensive end. In practice, he's getting more and more work. But we'll have to see if that's going to be enough for the Cowboys at linebacker. Offensive line. Boy. You still have Lyle Collins that's out there that you don't have to trade for, but maybe you look at him. I know Lyle has not been good since he left us, and he's coming off injuries, but you have to look at him and say, when one of these guys break down, he would be better than what we have. So those are the things that I look at and say, we definitely need some help there. I know the Dak Prescott haters out there will say, well, we need a quarterback. Let's trade for a quarterback. Just trade Dak. And people that say just trade Dak don't have a clue, because you can't trade Dak because he has a no trade clause. So today will be the big practice for the week. Let's see who is in and who is out, and see what we're looking like on the defense, how we're still shaking things up. I expected the Cowboys, you would think the Cowboys would be making some kind of a move to, or changes to shake things up. We can't just continue to go the same path we've been going. Now, I'm going to switch up here to Rich Eisen, because Rich Eisen has his take about should the Cowboys make a trade. And I think it's actually a really good segment. So let's go to Rich Eisen. All right, so the big question is, should the Cowboys make a move? You know, I look at this and I say the Cowboys have a great core group of players. And unfortunately, injuries are a thing in the NFL, and you have to account for those things. And having not just enough. See, this is the thing when I look at when I build something, okay? You know, the specs will say 16 on center, or, you know, you say this one is okay to meet the requirements. I always like to go up a little bit more, you know? Instead of just saying, okay, 2x6s will work, use a 2x8 or a 2x10. Just get a little extra meat, just in case shit happens. And that's where you look at it and say, yeah, the Cowboys, we got a great starting offensive line. But get a little more meat there to make sure if you lose one of those, you know, the house don't come falling down. Let's listen to Rich.
Go into the trade market right now. And first order of business, I would be to try and get some speed. Mm-hmm. And I know you say you already got it with Brandon Cooks. You got to get more. Look at the Dolphins.
Oh, my God.
That's what the day and age is. Just get fast. Get fast. You got Pollard. You got, you know, and the guy, honestly, I don't know why the Jets, for some reason, have decided they have no use for Mecole Hardman. If the Jets are making him available, and I'm the Joneses, I'm the front office, I'm calling up Joe Douglas and say, what do you want? And bring him in and start, you know, using him in certain ways that we saw the Chiefs use him, and for whatever reason the Jets have decided not to use him, or are uninterested in using him. That's what you've got to do. You do have to get the players around him. And the fact, though, that Michael here in 2023 is saying, do I have confidence in Dak? You bet I do. Do I have confidence in that he's going to be like Mahomes? I don't. To me, that one struck me like the proverbial ton of bricks. Dak at age 30, after what we saw from him early in his career, where he was extending plays and making remarkable throws, like the one to CeeDee Lamb in overtime in New England is a perfect example. I'm sure you remember that, Chris, right? And those types of plays that he made coming back from his leg injury against Tampa, where he's like, I'm going to take the team and throw them on my back, and we're going to start winning some games with me extending plays, you know, making all sorts of decisions that put pressure on the defense. That guy he's not confident that guy is there anymore, and he thinks that he is a more than capable quarterback to win games, win playoff games, and probably even a championship. And I still believe that. But to me, He's basically saying that Dak is not the guy who is going to just essentially, doesn't matter how you change the roster. Just give him one guy like Kelsey, and we're good. And just keep on churning out the rest of the roster with McKinnons and Pacheco's and, you know what, Rashid Rice, Tony, you know, last year Juju Smith-Schuster, those folks, Mahomes has got you. And I guess they're thinking, all right, but C's their guy and Pollard's their guy.
Michael Gallup injured last year, and
they seem to need more here.
And we didn't have Kelsey.
In a system that, you know, we're assuming will suit Dak, but through 5 games, it's way too inconsistent because you're seeing how well they're playing against offenses that are sputtering with quarterbacks that aren't seeing the field very well. Both Jones's and Zach Wilson at the time when he came in. But if you're taking on teams like the Niners or the Eagles twice or the Dolphins,
you need help.
You're going to have trouble. You got to get faster, and you've got to get some points on the board, and you got to get a system that suits him. And the fact that he said this made me think this last thing, and then I'll throw it to you guys to chop this up. That who are those types of quarterbacks who are right now, you know, in year 8, year 7, year 8, year 9, who are performing well with the scheme and the personnel that fits the scheme and their abilities to perform very well? The people I'm thinking are Jared Goff in Detroit, Geno Smith in Seattle. Who else is out there that's performing similar to that?
Well, who's been in the league that long, too.
Right.
I mean,
that's what I'm thinking.
It's a very small group. Like, what year is this for Lamar? Year 5, 6?
You know, it just, but Lamar, I think, is of the echelon of game-changing. I can throw the team on my back with my play. If you just want to cut me loose, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? So I would throw him in a different mix here, but that's who I'm thinking. Like, is Dak going to be one of those guys that you need to hit the scheme, you need to hit the roster right for him to win a championship or make a deep run?
Just about everybody.
Or be a playoff team. Like, is that the Dak that we're seeing now?
Kind of like Matthew Stafford in L.A. when he won the Super Bowl.
There's another good one right there.
Just load up the talent, have superstars around him.
Yeah.
With a coach that taps in.
Correct, exactly.
There you go.
Scheme it where everyone's kind of open on every play.
Whereas when Dak took over for Romo and came on and burst on the scene, we thought maybe he's, you know, the next the guy, you know, and instead we've seen since then Mahomes do it, Josh Allen do it, Burrow do it. Justin Herbert seems to have the skill set to do it, although Dak is more.
These guys ain't done anything.
I gotta say that.
They ain't been to Super Bowl. Herbert ain't got a playoff
win. This is what I thought of when I heard what Herb had to say to Susie and Amy on What the Football, and he's also, you know, goes deep into so many different other aspects of the Cowboys' loss to the 49ers. Talked about who he thinks the MVP of the league is through 5 weeks, and also told a great story of how he first met Emmett, and then how he once upon a time thought about getting into coaching. But did you hear who apparently talked him out of that and told him to stay in broadcasting?
I did see that. The commissioner,
Roger Goodell, which is a story I never heard before, and you know that's what happens when you start a podcast network, you start hearing other stories. So that's What the Football. Go get it, where all podcasts can be acquired, with Susie Schuster and Amy Trask. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku.
He brings up an interesting point about, you know, Dak can't put a team on his shoulder and will them to win a Super Bowl. But I will say, you know, I don't know that Josh Allen can. Lamar Jackson, I don't know that Lamar can, because they've had opportunities with great teams as well. Justin Herbert, he's in the same position as Dak Prescott right now because they aren't going anywhere. But we'll see. It doesn't matter. But it's Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, it's the worst thing in the world. But everybody else is looked upon a little bit different. I mean, we've seen Josh Allen wet the bed on many occasions. We've seen Josh Allen have 4 turnover games this year. We've seen him go over to London, turnovers and lose against the Jaguars. I'm going to say we get back on track this week. All right, good people. Got to go get an inspection done today, and then we're going to have some major changes, or at least, no, it's not major, but changes here at the Red Brick House. I'll see you there. Peace.